How exactly is wildlife crime tracked? How do authorities realize if the few drops of blood or the bits of stray hair that they have found belongs to an endangered animal or not? How is the Wildlife Protection Act, which dates back to 1972 and penalizes the hunting of endangered animals and wildlife trade, actually get enforced? Well, there's no CID type of investigation or interrogation when it comes to wildlife crimes, but there is a fair bit of science involved. Hello and welcome to The Print. This is Akanksha Mishra, and today I'm standing at the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology here in Hyderabad. The Wildlife Forensics Laboratory of the CCMB has been helping Indian authorities for the past 25 years by running animal DNA diagnostics, which helps them with wildlife crimes. It helps them look for hunters, poachers, and other criminals that engage in wildlife crimes.
So this technology was discovered, standardized in 2000 by my colleague Dr. Sunil Verma and our former director Dr. Lalji Singh. And by 2001, we started getting cases from Telangana Forest Department. And full service we started around 2001, 2002. So if you say from like 2000, we already started handling the cases related to wildlife crime in Telangana. And now till 2025, we have handled more than 3,500 cases related to wildlife crime in India. And this technology developed is known as universal primer technology, and this is very unique and very handy and very like user friendly PCR based technology which can identify species in more than 1,000 species using a single set of primers.
This lab receives up to 50 samples in a month from a variety of sources. So, from customs department, from state forest officials, even from police officers that are investigating any kind of crime related to wildlife. With a team of only 6 scientists, Dr. Gau's lab in Hyderabad is the control room from which the real action takes place. While they are both DNA analysis, the work done for wildlife crime differs slightly from the DNA analysis to track human crimes.
So in human crimes, it is done because when you do not know the identity of the body, it is done to confirm the identity, and that is called DNA fingerprinting. So that was also a technique that was originally developed in CCMB way back in 1988. And that involves probes, and you are basically looking at the pattern. In that case, sample is reasonably well defined. It's either a hair or a tissue or something like that. And that is DNA fingerprinting, where you can assert the identity of the person based on the profile that you get, and you can compare it with that of the parents or something like that, and you can ascertain the identity.
But in animal crimes, the whole task is to figure out the species of the animal using largely unrecognizable samples. The DNA analysis in the past has helped crack many cases. For example, a product that was being sold in the market as a dried plant root was found through DNA analysis to actually contain the animal parts of a monitor lizard. Using DNA analysis, this lab can determine whether a leather belt or a leather shoe is real or fake, and they can also determine what animal the leather has originated from. In fact, using specific kinds of DNA identification and isolation, the lab is able to figure out what is the origin of a certain kind of animal, what location or region it has come from. This is especially useful in cases of illegal wildlife trafficking, where the goal is to return the animal back to where it came from.
Like sample can be as fresh as today also, if there is a killing and they are sending the sample, it can be as fresh as same day or the previous day also. Like for some conflict case, we get if just 1 day or 2 days back, if there is a conflict, they send samples. So it can be as fresh as that also. Sometimes it will be very old samples also, like 2-3 year old, and sometimes even like now we can get DNA from the ancient sample also. We have the technique, like people are extracting DNA from woolly mammoth also. So it can be very old sample also. We have the technique here. We have optimized the technique where we can extract DNA, intact DNA from very old quality, old samples also.
However, one of the main concerns with sample gathered on the field is its quality. There are chances that if not stored properly, the sample might get contaminated and then no DNA extraction will be possible. For this, the team at CCMB gives forest official tips for different field collection.
So samples should be stored in some dehydrating agent, like it should be either stored in ethanol or common salt. Like ethanol is not easily available to foresters or forest guards, but common salt is easily available, so they can send it by keeping the sample in common salt and send. So what it will do, it will absorb moisture. It will keep the if the sample is present with lot of moisture, then it will lead to microbial growth, and that may degrade the sample.
See, unfortunately, we will not be able to do much about the contamination. If the contamination is minimal, we assume that the right sample will get amplified. But if the contamination is high, even the contaminant can get amplified. That is the limitation of the molecular test, because it is a very sensitive test, which has its benefits because it can pick even small samples which are small in amounts. But there lies the problem. If you have some level of contamination, it can get picked up.
But the team at CCMB agrees that this technology has changed the game for wildlife crime.
I think this is a very significant contribution towards actual wildlife conservation, because in the case of wildlife crime, many of the things used to go undetected, and due to the lack of a technology like universal primer technology, many a times cases were not reported. So now we can detect the crime within a given frame of time, and then we can go to the exact species. We can even catch hold of the poachers in a real time manner, or we can avoid a crime in the shape of an illegal trade.
A number of the cases that come to CCMB for wildlife analysis are court mandated, which means that the judiciary is also recognizing the validity of DNA analysis for the identification of wildlife crimes.
Dr. Gau's team at CCMB acts as the detectives of fields that can recognize an endangered, poached, or trafficked animal by a whisper of its DNA. It has changed the game of wildlife crime tracking in India and is also changing India's overall wildlife conservation efforts. This is Akanksha Mishra reporting for